You know what
You ended the call?
I'm really glad. I'm really glad that I didn't assume the first thing I did was record, and I checked because I was about to have a conversation with you and just kind of like lead into the start. And then I'm
Okay.
like, wait a second. Maybe I should check and make sure I hit the record. The best broadcast I've ever done never got recorded.
Wow, it was so good. You guys ate it off and then you forgot to record.
Oh yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Um
Wow.
I
Wow.
I used to only do live broadcasts for a long time. And
Oh.
then when I switched to pre-recorded,
Mm-hmm.
I my brain, it took a while to adjust.
Right.
So I've done some like just sold out, like put my whole body into it, and
And you
that's just
didn't record.
great. And they didn't record.
Oh.
So, but I choose. I forced myself to believe that those accidents
Yeah.
happen for a reason,
Yeah.
and there's a purpose for it. Maybe that purpose is that I need
Agree.
a producer, or maybe that purpose is I need to double check things and plan better. I don't
Maybe.
know, but there's a
It's,
purpose.
there's a purpose for it. I mean, recently I just learned that when you make some of these mistakes, it's a way of the world preventing you from making the same mistake on a larger scale. So that's assuming you learn from your mistakes anyway.
I try to.
I try to. I mean, we can
I
only try.
I like to describe my relationship with God as like one of these things where I'm going around my life. I think I'm doing things right, and
Mm-hmm.
I get a little nudge here and there, and I'm like, "What was that? A mosquito?" I'm like, okay, and then I keep going,
Yeah.
and then the next thing I get is, "Oh,
Oh,
where did that come from?" And then I keep running, and next thing I know, then I'm getting hit by a car.
oh.
Oh, that was now I'm paying
Now
attention.
you know why the mosquito and the blow came. Right. Yeah.
I'm trying not to be so hard-headed now that I've become an adult.
Then you then you get the car hits a lot if you don't try. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We have questions to get into.
Yeah. Let's
Well,
do that.
listen, I'm sincerely and I think I can say Olubunmi. Olubunmi.
Yeah, that's an English way of pronouncing it. I'll take it.
You'll make-
You know, there is the Yoruba accent to it, and you just have to be Yoruba to get the accent. So,
I'm moving to Nigeria just so I can get the accent.
you're welcome. You're
I'm
welcome.
At this point I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna get kicked out of my own country for going, I don't want the military going to Nigeria.
I'm telling you, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. It's crazy how it's crazy what it's morphing into. But then again, there's been some crisis, and our government needs to do better. That I can say.
Well, that's the thing, is it's not an easy answer. And
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers, but I just know that my government's lying because they always lie, especially when it comes to getting us into war, because they need they need the public support. Actually, I don't even know if they need it anymore. I don't think they even care what we think, but this is
Mm,
another subject and not about Hult Prize.
good price.
But
Let's get into
I
it.
may have to seriously get my Nigerian citizenship, and
Yeah.
so I may see you there.
Well, you're welcome.
I'm gonna get
We're
deported.
30 million people and still growing. So one
Oh,
more isn't gonna hurt.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a rumor that I'm part Nigerian, but I have to get my DNA testing. But I don't want to sell my DNA testing to figure it out, because I kind of
You
have
have
this theory that we're all from Africa, but I can't
yeah.
prove it yet.
The Yoruba myth of how the world started said it started from Yoruba land, so you might be correct there.
Who
So
knows?
the world started from Ife.
Well,
So
I mean, so in all seriousness, I've been is very, very excited about this, because I felt like the very first board meeting we were in, I
mhm.
just recognized you as a leader just from your presence alone before you even spoke a word. But then I saw how you handled yourself and conducted yourself in the group, and I just was always blown away, because
Thank
again,
you.
it wasn't even everything that you said. It was about your presence. And I'm like, okay, this is the kind of leader I like to be around. And so I've been excited about having this conversation, to getting to know you more, even though we've had a few chats,
Right.
this is a good way of getting to know you a little bit more. And I'm just so honored to have you here.
Thank you.
This is the Legacy Architect podcast, but I it doesn't even matter. I don't care, because this is really about you.
Right.
And then also, it is also about a shared love that we have for the Hult Prize Nigeria, and all of the people that are a part of that, because it's not just the youth that get to be served and
Mm-hmm.
mentored and helped. It's
Mm-hmm.
really the community of other leaders that we're around. I'm humbled to be a part of it, just because I've been able to learn so much, and it's fun getting to work with sincere-hearted leaders at Hult Prize. Like, there's no ego involved, and that is such a beautiful thing to be a part of, especially for someone like myself. So this is a treat for me. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
And
you too.
are you ready? Wait, actually, before I get into your questions, I would like to know one thing.
Hmm.
What are you grateful for today, and why?
Thank you for all that you said earlier. I think that it will be hard to have ego about the Hult Prize Nigeria mission, because it's not about you. It's not about even the ESCO. It's about the talents, the entrepreneurs that are coming on board, that are trying to get us to support them. So most definitely honored to be a part of it. And the team is doing a great job. I don't know where they got those people from, but it's all of them together amazing. And it's good to be a part of it. Today, always grateful for life,
Mm.
grateful for the gift of family. It's such a blessing to be able to do life with people, or people do life with you. And sometimes we might get caught up in what we want, our goals, and forget that there are so many people around us that are supporting, helping. I'm grateful for my local community of faith too. And it's really local to me because it's not far from where I live, but it's a place that I've also been able to render or offer a lot of service, and I have still done that today. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to follow the leadership of the place and serve in the work of our Lord.
Mm. I love that. That was a good
Thanks.
answer. I love a good
Thank you.
gratitude answer.
I'm
Uh,
telling you, it's a
uh,
good attitude.
do I know?
I said gratitude is a good attitude.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah.
So much so. Wow, I almost went on a rant there that would have taken us off subject. All right, are you ready for your questions now?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay. You lead financial strategy for a
Mhm.
major player in the energy sector, yet you're deeply passionate about the agile world of startups, fintech, and blockchain. How do you
Yeah.
navigate these two seemingly different worlds, and what does each world teach you about the other?
So I started my career actually in structured organizations. One was a smaller one. Then I proceeded to a much more bigger one, was a bank. And then another structured one where I spent a large, the longest in my career anyway. And then I moved into the world of startups. And, just getting into the environment, I could see so many things that, can get us past this phase. So in large corporations, you see a lot of risk governance, you see corporate governance, and I've seen how those has helped the company navigate growth, navigate changes in policies, environment, and all. In startups, you see a speed, there's innovation, there's also grit. people are trying to get this car off of the ground. And that's amazing to see. But what what I now tell myself is these large corporations actually started as startups. That's how they started. They moved through that phase to become what they've become now. And to be able to help startups navigate through that, I'm grateful for it, especially the ones that I work with outside my normal job. You know, those are more personal and I'm able to really express. And thankfully, they are also able to share and let you help. And yeah, and in Hult Prize too, being part of the competition back in May, I could also already see some of these things that would really help. And I'm hoping that with what we're doing with the team, we can pass on some of these things before the competition and beyond the competition.
This is not planned.
Yeah.
But I just, as you were talking, I felt led to ask this question. Like, I've seen the videos from last year's competition. We were blessed to sponsor a team, my family and I. But since then, because I didn't really know much about Hult Prize then, like I do now. I know way more now than I did. But now that I've seen more videos from all over the world, mind you, not just Nigeria, like all over the world, people that compete in Hult Prize, and to see the youth and the faces, and then to see it seems to me, and again, I know how video and things can manipulate because it's used all the time to manipulate people. But in this case, there seems to be a real joy amongst the people involved in Hult Prize internationally. From your perspective, someone who's been there and actually seen it in person, to see the people that are competing, what is like the overall spirit, you would say? Like, if you could maybe like give it a word, what would the word be of the overall spirit of the collective that are involved with Hult Prize?
The word would be go-getters. These are people that they know what they want. They were not there because there was a competition for them to compete in. They were there because it's something that they already started, and then the competition just helped us. Okay, why don't we join this? And imagine people in school, in universities, still coming together with ideas to solve problems that they probably haven't even experienced as much. They may not have had people die from maybe wrong medical diagnosis or late medical diagnosis. They may not have had, maybe I've heard of it, but I won't say it because they were young. It may not have affected them as personally as it would have if you were a parent, a relative, or something. But those are the problems that they are tackling. And those are the problems that we, the continent and Nigeria, these are some of the problems that we are still trying to solve. It's amazing. A lot of people had things to do with education. How can we learn better? Students trying to help themselves learn better, trying to say, hey, I think this way you're teaching me, you can teach me better like this. And I thought that was amazing. These are changes that need to be made, that we need to experience in my country. And some of these young folks are already going at those programs to solve it. So they are go-getters, whether there's Hult Prize or not, they would do something. I mean, these are people already calling themselves CEOs. This is my co-founder, this is my CTO. And it wasn't just for the competition. It was because we had people that had come before and they came again. And they told us what they did between when the last time they were there and now. So they are moving regardless. So they are go-getters. That's what I'll say.
That's the perfect word. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What is a critical lesson from the structured, high-stakes corporate world that you believe every startup founder absolutely needs to hear?
Structure. You cannot overemphasize it. It's important that startups are able to put structure in place from the very beginning. Sometimes when you start, you might say, oh, we're still just doing this now.
Yeah.
After some time, and then it can become overwhelming. Starting and ensuring that as you're starting, there's some structure you're putting into your own work time, into how you're keeping your documents, into how you're managing funds. All of them are important because as you keep growing, it's what you start with that you will continue with. And sometimes you may even grow and then have other people do all of these things. Maybe have the structure, have the controls, but you as the owner still wouldn't do it because you just did not put yourself through that discipline of doing it. So I think it's something that startups need to consider as they speed up, as they try to grow, as they try to innovate. It's important to ensure that you are putting the right structure for innovation, for transaction processing, for documentation, for government compliance, statutory compliance. It's important that all of that are put in place. It really is because you would need it at some point.
It's so funny to me. Not fun. I don't know if funny is the right word, but as you're talking and you said structure, the very first, the image of Dr. Miles Monroe popped in my head when you said structure. And I remember him saying, and this is right around the time when I surrendered my life. And I've gone from more of the supernatural of the Pentecostal Assembly of God movement and was really learning more about the kingdom structure and the way of kingdom living and time, talent, treasure, and different financial system. You know, you understand what it is. I won't go into all of that. And it really resonated with me, that mindset. But the one thing that I had stuck with me from this, I don't even know why I'm sharing this, but the thing that had stuck with me from that previous Pentecostal Assembly of God world was everything was supernatural. Like, in other words, if I just rely on the Holy Spirit to guide me, then I'm going to go everywhere I need to go. Everything's going to fall into place. Magic money will come to me. My business will be a smashing success. I just have to be led by the Spirit. Even though I love Dr. Miles Monroe and I would listen to anything he said and do pretty much like what he taught, I thought was accurate. But I remember those words talking about the importance of structure and building a foundation and having a plan. And like I had a vision, but the structure and the foundational part was not there. And it took a long time for it to finally hit me that properly operate, like it's good to be led by the Spirit, but you need some anchoring points, you need some boundaries, you need some guidelines. Fly within the boundaries, but don't go outside of them. And that made a lot of sense too, because I started to think about all of the relationships that I had that were successful. They all had boundaries and parameters. I knew what the boundaries were, but the people that changed boundaries or surrendered their boundaries, it was a mess. And it just started to translate in all of these other areas of my life. And so what I'm trying to say is I think one of the biggest mistakes that I've made, and I don't know if anyone listening out there has had this mistake or made this mistake, but it's great to be led by the Spirit. It's great to have big, bold faith. But if you don't have a structured plan, you got no shot. And so structure, to what you said, it had a lot deeper meaning to me. And I can't emphasize it enough. Like, you can have the greatest idea in the world, but if you don't have a structure, it ain't going anywhere, and somebody else is going to take that idea.
That, and also that it's going to be hard for you to communicate to people because you want to tell people, oh, I'm just led. I feel led. And that's how they're supposed to invest in your business. That's how they're supposed to spend all their time with you. That they have to wait for the leading of the Holy Spirit. What if that doesn't tie with their time? So sometimes when we do things, you also want to remember that you are going to deal with professionals. You're going to deal with people that are more experienced than you. You're going to deal with people that are not led by the Spirit, that are led by structures and everything that they see. So you need to be able to bring that leading into what they can resonate with, what is familiar to them.
Uh, this is I can't. I have a feeling this. We're only on like question 3 officially. Like,
I
we're
saw
go-
that coming.
we're going
because it
into
was
fun.
a lot of
This is my
questions.
favorite way. Like, by the way, like we're going into some fun directions. Just like spirit lead us. Like, who knows what we'll talk about next? Anyway, so what is one element of the startup mindset, perhaps speed, innovation,
Mhm.
risk taking, that you believe large corporations should adopt to stay competitive?
Right. Innovation.
Mhm.
Because, like I said earlier, every company started as a startup trying to uh, struggle, get their feet on ground, stabilized. But when you've gotten the product, you've gotten the services that you already render, people already know you. Sometimes you might think it's easier to just not rock the boat, just let's stay on this path. People already know us for this and all. And forget that times are changing. What do you need to do about the product? What other services can you add to it? I mean, just take out time to innovate around the things around you, what the business landscape is now saying.
Mhm.
So oftentimes you may find that even large corporations that do innovate might take a long time to do that. And while they are taking time to do that, somebody else has come with another idea, taking it up, and then they are back to ideating, and then it takes a longer time. So that kind of uh, agility in innovation is important so that they're able to catch up and continue to set the pace.
Yeah.
There's just a way that human beings can settle, and it's human beings really running this company. So it's not the corporation; it's just human beings. I mean, there's just a way they can settle, and that is something they need to constantly, have something to check them against. And you can't really blame them. This is 40 years, 50 years, 100 years of work you're talking about. You don't want it to go down the drain just because you tried a new thing. So the fact that it takes time is really, it helps. It's understandable, but the world is changing fast. In
Mhm.
this age of tech, with young people with different mindset, big corporations need to ensure that they are able to be the kind of company that those young people are going to be able to work with or partner with or support, buy from.
Yeah, I'm fortunate that I'm a creative,
Mm.
like in the sense that because I believe, I mean, I don't believe that we are in a creator's economy, and it's going to become more so
Absolutely.
in story.
Absolutely.
And so, like, I'm not an engineer, and so I
Mm.
I can't really create the technology. That's not my skill set, but I'm happy to partner with it because
Mhm.
of how I'm able to use it with storytelling. But but there's a trap in that.
Mm.
And because storytelling is going to be such a big part of this new economy that we're in, global economy,
Right.
by the way.
Right.
And boy, I have a whole sermon on the storytelling economy that would get people excited. I'm going to save that for another podcast. But
Right.
the thing is that the only way this storytelling economy is effective for people is with media literacy. And what I mean by media literacy, there's a definition that's widely known, which is, essentially deciphering between real and fake news, like knowing how to decipher if something is real or not. That's one element of it. But there's another definition of media literacy that is probably more important than anything, because if you focus on trying to figure out what's fake and what's not, you can lose precious time and it
Right.
becomes a distraction. So
Yeah.
instead of being in the news feeds for opinions, how about
Mm.
getting into yourself and create? Because
Mm.
when we create, oh, well, I'm sorry, the creating part is great. We get to tap into our imagination. I believe in the creation process. We can never be closer to our creator. It's the
Mhm.
ultimate prayer, is creating with our creator. And
Mhm.
then when you understand the media literacy, as in all the media tools that are available, so whether
Right.
it's an auditory, so it's an audiobook, a
Mm.
podcast, spoken word, doing live reads for commercials, voiceover games, there's money in that. Podcast, video, everything on this screen is
Mhm.
monetizable had I have immersive ads popping up, or I'm selling
Mhm.
something here on the screen.
Right.
Then you have the written word. You have like whether it's books, articles, newspapers, courses. Like
Mhm.
there's so much that can be done. So and then you have the metaverse, which just
Right.
takes everything I said and magnifies it by 1,000 times. So storytelling will be effective for entrepreneurs with media literacy, as in understanding all of the media tools available. And the reason why you need to know all of the different media tools is because you were all quite literally competing with robots, like podcast. You're competing
Right.
with robots. If
Mhm.
you go on YouTube, you're competing with robots. But if you understand every form of media,
Mhm.
that means you have even more avenues of revenue streams. Why did I go on this rant? Do you know? I just
I think you're
hijacked my
getting
own
there.
podcast. I'm supposed to be interviewing you, and I just went on a media literacy rant. But I'm being serious about it.
Right.
So there was a purpose of me bringing this up, though. You got to help me out.
Why startups need to tap into it?
Oh, yes, there was
Yeah.
something to that. Yeah, there was.
Mhm.
But no, that wasn't it. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'll say one thing. Uh, it's not enough to be doing a good thing. People need to know that you're doing it. In my profession as an accountant, one of the principles is being objective. And it says, I remember reading it says, it's not enough to be objective. People have to see that you're objective. So if you're doing something good, you need to let people know. And that's where all of this media comes in whatever form you want to advertise, provide the necessary publicity for the work that you're doing. And social media has been able to help people, find a voice, help companies throw out themselves and say, put themselves out there. I mean, to let people know. People have been able to share their insights. I'm sharing my insights. So it's there's a form of media that we can all, get comfortable with and use to promote our causes, promote our work, promote any other thing we want to promote, family.
Justice, share truth.
Promote. Absolutely, yeah.
Instead of recycling from the headlines, because I mean, for instance, like right now, let's go back to the situation with Nigeria and America in the military, or the American handlers, I should say. Yeah, I said that. Sorry. But people are believing just because the politicians are putting out in the media and seeing videos and with those videos as a caption, so people are being told to believe what the caption with the description of the video that someone wrote in this video. And so
Right.
now the narrative that was painted because of that is being believed and passed around and passed around and passed around and passed around. Therefore, it's become people's truth without any discerning of asking, well, maybe we should actually talk to someone who lives there instead of just trusting the American politician who's never been to Nigeria. So one of the powers of storytelling is like where you're at in your own community, where you are, where I live. This is what's going on. And if people get away from repeating other people's news, but instead focus on their stories and share real stories, whether it's injustice, whether it's something happy, whether it's a new puppy, or it's a new recipe, or you learned how to recycle barbed wire to turn it into steel. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. But like, if you learn something valuable, like you have something of value to share, something that you in your heart believe is true, that you were the source of the information of. If you start doing that, there's going to be a huge shift away from all this fake mess. And then what will happen through storytelling, people will be more willing to share authentic stories, because the more people that start doing that, little by little, people will quit judging, because little by little, people will start to fall into their God-given purpose and starting to tap into their talents more, because that's part of the fun of the storytelling economy. And if you're doing that, if you're living in your purpose, if you're living in the purpose that God created you for, there's no reason You have no time to be racist. You have no time to be judgmental. In fact, you tend to be more likely to see people where they're at, to meet people where they're at, which God calls us to do. So if somebody's suffering or if somebody believes differently than us, it doesn't mean that we go adapt their beliefs, but we are of them where they're at, not judge them, because God knows there's a reason why they believe what they believe or feel the way they feel. So maybe we should show compassion and love. And when we get, and that comes from, I believe, authentic storytelling, because we get away from the opinions, and we get away from the opinions little by little, the judgments and all the other crap goes away. And truth starts to enter the atmosphere.
One of the things that gets in the way of authentic storytelling, it's the media economy you mentioned. You know, there's just a lot of incentive for what's trending, what's popular, that people then ignore to do their own stories, like you were saying, and then focus on what will get them the likes, the fame, the publicity. And you see that that's one of the reasons why this kind of news, true or not, relevant or not, are thriving, because if people are following it, other people would rather just take advantage of that trend, join that trend, instead of creating their own authentic story. But I mean, there's a good side, there's a bad side. Hopefully, we keep creating awareness of the good side and people telling their own stories.
The people that are focused on their purpose are the only ones that are going to survive what's coming.
Right.
Because I mean, I'm just going to put it plainly. The people that are distracted, that are in their news feeds and they're fighting over things they can't, those are the people that are going to go out into the streets and fight in some civil war that they've been manipulated to joining. Like, this is what they're setting the stage for in America. And there's a reason for it, by the way. There's a reason for it. And I won't go into all that right now, but they absolutely are stoking the fires to have everyone to fight this civil war here. And it's all of the people that are extreme right, extreme left, extreme, you know, they're an extreme viewpoint. I don't believe that God created us to be an extremist. I mean, passionate and are loving for God, but that's not extreme. But to be, and so that ideology, that militant blind sheep ideology, is going to lead people into fighting, and they're not going to have a place in the new world that we're heading into, because the people that are focused on their purpose right now are very much involved in bringing in this new world, this world that so many have suffered to bring in, to bring fairness for the underserved communities around the world, to bring people the right to have access to clean water, to maybe stop having their countries bombed for no reason. Like, some of these injustices are slowly fading away, and they will. And the only people that are resistant to the change are the ones that are going to struggle in this new economy, in this new world. But the people that are prepared and ready, the people that have been living purposefully, I believe they're going to be set up beautifully. Which I'm probably into a little too there, but go ahead.
Yeah, I said I believe so too. If we just tap into a God-given purpose and, you know, focus on what change you're trying to drive in the world.
Yes, and I believe that's kind of what we're created here to do. All right, enough about this, because I'm going to get us off you're so fun to talk to that I'm going to try to push some boundaries of conversation, I think. All right, as a financial controller, and by the way, never mind. Okay, as a financial controller, you're the guardian of a company's financial health. Can you demystify that role for our listeners and share the story the numbers tell you that a spreadsheet never could?
One of the things I always say is every decision in a company, outside a company, have financial implications. There's a decision you should be making. There's an opportunity you should be taking. There's a risk you should be, you know, managing or adverting anyone. So my role as a financial controller is, once I see the numbers, I try to, you know, translate them into what does it mean for our strategy? What does this mean for what the company is trying to do? What does this mean for what we should not be doing?
Right.
So that we ensure that we're on the path of sustainability, on the path of achieving our goals. We're on the path of just ensuring that the company keeps being profitable, keeps being relevant in the industry.
I like that. That's good. So you mentor entrepreneurs on achieving financial sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
What is the single most common and perhaps most dangerous financial mistake you see founders make in crucial early stages?
One of them is not keeping the right documentation, and it comes from really not trying to get financial education enough about running a company, such that you understand that everything you're doing, every purchase you're making, every contract you're getting into, whether orally or documented, all of these are important in developing the financial status. Because what then happens is, I have companies that I know of companies that have gone on for years, but you couldn't really tell what they've done. Because all the transactions are processed from a personal account. All the transactions are done from somebody helped me. So it's in somebody else's account, it's in another place. So you're unable to consolidate what the company has done over the years, and then able to put evaluation on the kind of effort that the founder or the same has put into that company over the years. And then what then happens is you tend to start thinking they're not serious. You start thinking they've not done a lot. Meanwhile, they've done a lot. It's just that they haven't kept the right document to show people that this is what they do. And I mean, if you get a piece of property, a car or anything, the important thing about it isn't the car, it's the document. Because you could be in the car and then I could be in the car, it's not my car. You could be there and say, this is it. This is and this one this one you take to the court or you take anywhere to the bank to get a loan. So it's that important that entrepreneurs, startups keep the right documentation for statutory compliance, for fundraising, just for being able to appraise the kind of work that has gone into the enterprise. For as long as it hasn't been existing.
Excellent. I don't do a lot of financial. I don't do a lot of interviews with people with financial expertise and the knowledge that you have, especially in this world, in this industry specifically. So this is interesting for me. So I really do appreciate your answers.
Thanks.
So your expertise includes fintech and blockchain. Looking specifically at the African continent, where do you see these technologies having the most revolutionary impact in the next 5 years?
Still on the continent, there are still a lot of communities that could benefit from technology. A lot of the technologies have grown, they have scaled, they have expanded into different industries, sectors, economies, but you find a lot of them in the cities still, or in towns. We still have villages to penetrate. We still have villages we need to bring on stream on this technology, whether it's blockchain, fintech. So there's a lot of expansion that we need to do outside just raising funds to expand into the next big city in another country, the next big city on another continent. There's still a lot of ground to be covered in the homes. And to be fair, the government has provided or enabled a lot of products to take to the communities, the villages. But you find that because of, I guess, we have to survive, the companies to keep staying afloat and all. you find that those technologies, those products, those services are taking over the city life instead of going to the places where they were originally designed for. So I believe that at some point they would still get there. So in 5 years, I think we would have been able to cover more grounds in terms of where these technologies have spread to in terms of geographies in the country.
I wonder if there's a connection, and I don't know if this is, I don't know the facts on this, but what you just said sounds a lot like, so right now, like in the United States, you have big cities, of course, but then you also have vast farmland and people that live in rural areas. And of course, things are going out and like the country population's being taken away a little bit. And there's other issues and factors that I won't go into here. But one of the things that's happening is eventually people will be moved out of the countryside and into cities by design. Okay. And they're going to let nature essentially take back over the farmland. And of course, it's also kind of interesting that certain people are buying up all the farmland in America, but that's another conversation too. But I wonder if the same thing is happening where they want to force people out of the farming areas and the areas that are not developed of Africa and force them into the cities, and then have that farmland go back, maybe to have, maybe technology do the farming, like something like that. Do you think there's any possibility to that?
There's a lot of investment by the government into bringing technology into agriculture.
Yeah.
I think that by design is also it's going to open up the opportunities that people in the farming communities have to come to the city. So it's not that they are trying to bring them on stream into the community or into the cities. It's that by the time they're exposed to what these technologies can do and how their economies have improved and what kind of partnerships they need to start having because of the scale of work that they're now doing, then they would come on. So I don't think it's by design they will come on because of the kind of technology they're now interacting with and how that is helping their job. That's what I'll say, but not that the government wants to bring them up.
Yeah. And thank you for answering that. And I honestly don't necessarily think it's always a bad thing too, because there is over farming and there's, the soil needs to be replenished and that's not properly done. And there's a lot of other things about how things are done here that are not necessarily the right way and necessarily the best way for the environment or for nature itself. So anyway, I was curious. Thank you for answering that. Cause I like to connect dots and I like to try to get as full and complete picture as possible, because admittedly, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, when I first heard about Agenda 21, right, before Agenda 2030 was announced, the way I was hearing about it was like all the bad things, like all the potential bad things. And so that's what my brain goes, oh, and I already question things as it is. And so like it made sense. So I told myself, if I see all of these things play out, okay, I'm going to pay attention. So I started to see certain things line up and play out. And so then when Agenda 2030 was announced, I just decided that I was going to become obsessed. And from now on, I was going to study everything the world leaders put out. And I've been doing that for 20 years now. And here's what I've learned. It doesn't matter what people have planned. They ain't God. That's the first part. The second thing is nothing is ever as bad as they tell us as it's going to be. And it's never as good either. And the last part of this is Agenda 2030 and Agenda 21 are going to do a lot of good for a lot of people in a lot of parts of the world that have not had anything good happen to them from a global governance level, meaning they've been raped and pillaged for their resources, their minerals, and many other things. Innocent lives have been murdered. There's been horrific things that have happened in the name of freedom. And we have this extreme wealth gap, and there's more people impoverished than ever, and then there's some super elite rich people too, and that crowd grows, but the middle is fading away.
Right.
What I believe Agenda 2030 will do is change that to some degree. Will there still be ultra wealthy people? Absolutely there will be. But for the first time in my lifetime, we're going to have the underserved communities around the world. Every form of underserved community is going to have a fair shot at success and a chance to have a life. No more will the person in a wheelchair have to accept the scraps. They will, because of technology, be able to do things that they could not do before. Accessibility is gone for the little girl or the little boy that dreams of being a singer. They no longer have to go to America and go to LA to make that happen. They no longer have to they no longer need a manager. Like we have the power in our hands to take control of our destiny.
I agree.
And
people are already doing that.
And that's Agenda 2030, ladies and gentlemen. That's Agenda 2030. So yes, there's changes coming. Yes, you're not going to like all of them, but the fact is, there's people that are going to have an opportunity to live a good life for the first time in their lifetime. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I also think that, like the Hult Prize, when the contestants come, they're able to tie their idea, their innovation to a certain sustainable goal. So just as you were saying it now, what came to my mind was people that understand it are now taking they're giving a voice to these sustainable goals to help people that don't understand it or to help people that need it. So if you are positive about it, if you know the good it can do, what have you done to key into the goals to see that those people that don't know or are not even aware about it, it's helping them to come on board, helping them to make their life easier, helping them to have equal opportunities, helping to, eliminate or reduce poverty, So those are the things that we that believe in it, people that know about it should actively be doing to ensure that the goals are not just the goals. They are being worked on to achieve what they are supposed to achieve. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for that input. That was fantastic. I don't want to ask you that question. It doesn't really matter. I want to go to okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they do matter, but some of it becomes redundant after a while, especially when I go off script and start talking about other things that you share. And then it's like, oh, we covered this already. All right. So this podcast is named The Legacy Architect. I'm just kidding. You invest your time shaping the startup ecosystem by empowering entrepreneurs. What is the personal why that drives you to do this vital work?
By virtue of the role I play in the organization or in the finance role, excuse me, you find that most of the time, the finance role is to support the organization in achieving its goal. And I've been able to, imbibe that support, consciousness into a lot of things that I do. Is it in family? Is it in my local community or church? And then in the workplace. So when I was interacting with startups, working with them and all, I ultimately left. But then I seized a lot of opportunities because now that I've matured, a lot of my friends are branching out to start their own companies and all. So the opportunity now came for me to support them. So once somebody starts telling me, oh, they think they want to leave their work, they think they want to start something, or they start doing something on the side, I'm able to quickly say, hey, happy to support you. Right. Because you especially tech people, mostly tech folks, they probably had little interaction with finance while they were in the company. They just got their refunds, their salaries, maybe expenses, a little travel, that's it, you know, and then they want to start their own. So I'm always quick to remind them that this is not something you just brush off the under the carpet. It's important. So for me, it's just been able to support in what I've known, in what I've done for years. It's
Yeah.
been able to support them in doing that, and I'm happy to support. I recognize that not everybody will be in front, not everybody will be first,
Right.
but we can all support a good cause.
Amen. Oh,
Yeah.
amen. Amen. I like that.
Yeah.
You help businesses create long term value.
Mm.
What does that phrase mean to you? Not just for a company's balance sheet, but for its employees, community, and the broader economy.
Yeah. The thing about value is there are many different expressions of it. And companies need to recognize what other value are they adding other than providing the services that they're providing. Is there an additional value you're adding to the community? And we see a lot of companies do that. Some people have managed to create a name in the fitness space. Some people have managed to create a name in just having shows or just yearly event talks and all of that. And I like it because it's their way of giving back. It's a way of sharing their insight. You know, sometimes they invite speakers to come and everybody just learns a little more about the organization, about the industry and all. So it's that impact that you're doing beyond I'm selling this. I'm making some profit. I really believe in what other thing are you doing? You know, some companies are already known for is there when this thing is coming up, we're sponsoring. When somebody is having a cause, we're supporting. I think that that's beyond, yes, we made profit, yes, we gave dividend. That's what you're supposed to do. What other thing are you contributing to the society? There are companies that sponsor our talent shows. You already know that they are the ones that will do that, and we have talents that have come up. I mean, creative talent like music,
Yeah, yeah.
artists, and all of that. So you already sort of resonate the brand with these ones, and I think it's good because beyond you just selling us what you're producing, there's also another development or another ecosystem that you are supporting. It's the kind of value I want companies to start doing. I think so.
I love it. I love it. Looking ahead 20 years, when people in the African business community mention the name, I'm going to see now you're got me in my head. When they mention, okay, let me start over.
Uh,
I'm going to do this.
okay.
Okay. And I'm risking myself looking like a,
I'm not looking at you.
okay. Looking ahead 20 years, when people in the African business community mention the name Olubunmi Sobande. So wait, yeah, let me start over one more time. Looking ahead 20 years, when people in the African business community mention the name Olubunmi Sobande, what is the impact you hope to have left behind?
That was good. Thank you. Um, I think it's just for because a lot of the things I do can be subtle, you know, can be in the background. It's not always in the forefront. I think to to be a part of somebody's story, especially their success story. There was a company I actually worked with and they raised funds. I'm so proud of them. It was just something they asked me to do and I just did it and they told me, oh, they got the funds. I'm like, oh wow.
Hmm?
As in, so that's something that I'm so proud of. The My friend is so proud of. He's so proud of it, and just to be a part of their success story is something I think would be good. And I'd like to be a part of a lot of people's success stories. So to be able to, you know, just keep sharing what I've learned, keep giving of what I have, I think to be a part of their success story, because ultimately they will probably do most of the work than I would do. I already have where I'm primarily supporting, helping, earning. So there is that. But like I was saying about the companies, what other thing are you doing? I mean, that company is getting the most of what I can give, but I'm also able to give to other people. So to be able to extend a lot to other companies and to have a number of companies, people be able to say, oh, there was something about that lady, there was something she did that helped us to achieve what we achieved. I think, yeah, that's something I would like to remember for, just to, that I've been a part of a lot of people's success story.
I love that. That's a really good answer. Who was an influential mentor or sponsor in your own journey, and what was the most valuable lesson they taught you?
Oh, so that wouldn't be one person. My kind of person, I'm able to see clearly my immediate future, what I want to be. And oftentimes I'm able to recognize quickly who can lead me to that. So it's been at the different stages of my life, seeing somebody and watching out for what can I learn from the person? What
Yeah.
can I do with them? So they might not even know that I'm shadowing them, but I am. Just trying to lean in and get something from them. And I think that's how I try to make myself better. I know what I'm good at. I know what I need to improve on. That's why if I see somebody do something better than I did it, I'm able to recognize it quickly and decide if I want to imbibe it or not. So it's been that kind of journey for me. But if I have to be specific, there's a certain man I've been listening to, and then the way he speaks just blows my mind. And he's helping me to think more into the future, especially how the future is going to change, because he's a futurist. So I enjoy, or I am able to really picture, and thankfully he's a faith-based man, he's a Christian also. So I'm able to, really picture that. I mean, it influences me because I don't know him personally, but I'm influenced by his experience, his teaching, and I'm able to invite that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Finally, if you could go back and give your younger self, just graduating and starting your career, one piece of advice, what would it be?
I would say trusting the process
Yeah.
or being consistent.
Hmm?
Being consistent can be quite underrated. And being consistent doesn't mean you're doing the same thing over and over again. As you're being consistent in doing it, you would recognize that you need to move to the next level. So it's because you have consistently done something, then you see, oh, I need to take another step further, another step further. So I would say being consistent is one thing that has helped. And I recognize that, especially when I was trying to switch career from being an IT auditor to an accountant, because I recognize that if I stayed in the IT auditing profession, I might not grow as fast. I might not be as invested.
Mm-hmm.
So I recognize that if I continue this thing, I would grow, yes, but I might not be happy with it. Because I already saw that there were a lot of people, or a lot of other things in the space that I wasn't catching up with. So I decided to pivot into accounting, and being consistent in that, I've grown in it. So being consistent is what people need to learn, entrepreneurs need to learn, young people need to learn, and trusting that process. Sometimes you might get tired of the boredom of it, but if you're consistent in it, you'll pass that phase to the exciting part.
I like that a lot because, it reminds me, I said this earlier about how nothing's is ever as bad as we think and nothing is ever as good. To take that further, all of the good things the perceived good, great things that happen in my life kind of led to a disappointment. And maybe that disappointment was I got so high and so euphoric about the good thing that when that good feeling went away, it was like, but in my experience, it's the traumas of my life, the difficulty, the failure, public embarrassment, the goofing up, the just failing, the sadness, the depression, the heartbreak. It all led to something that was a far greater blessing that I could have ever imagined. And it reminds me of the saying, the blessing is in the breaking. And it just, and it's for my life, that is true. Like, that's true. I get through addiction where finally I'm free of that, where it's not affecting me, where I, when I don't have the cravings for the drugs and the alcohol and all the things that I wanted before, like that goes away. And then, then I developed this frequency induced tremor, right? And I thought I was going to die. I lost everything because of it again. And like, but the thing is that all that got taken away when this happened, and it's so much better than it was. But when it did happen, I thought I'd lost everything. But when everything went away, the one thing that remained was my purpose. And that purpose became more clear than anything ever. And then I realized in that moment that, yeah, sure, I can't talk, I can't use my voice for a while, and I can't do this and I can't do that, but I can do this and I can do that, and I can do this and I can. And then, and little by little, all of these things that I prayed for most of my life, doors started to open that would have never opened had I not developed tremors. So the very thing that's tried to kill me and tried to hurt me has led to my greatest blessings. Like, so that's how I view. And so like in business, when there's failure and things don't go wrong, it's still an opportunity. It's refinement. It's tuning you up. It's perfecting you. And the other thing too, I want to add to entrepreneurs out there. It's the reason, going back to something you talked about, you didn't use foundation, you used another word. It was about basic planning. What is it?
This is structure.
Structure. You don't want to come into a lot of money. Like, you don't want to make a bunch of money if you're not mature enough to handle it. If you're not a good steward of what you have, like you have a little, and you're not being a good steward of what you're blessed with now, trust me, it's going to be worse when you get a lot.
Absolutely.
I know experience. It's important to learn financial literacy now. And I mean, you're a great person to learn from, clearly. But that's a big mistake. I remember coming into money early and just, that was a bad idea. I got to be taught a very good lesson. So, all right, enough about me. I am so grateful for you just as a human being.
Thank you.
I shared with you the beginning, at the very first day we met, I'm like, something about this person. So now that we've been blessed to talk and know each other a little bit better, it's just confirming that initial feeling, and that couldn't make me happier. I know we have a meeting coming up here with our team, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to have the last word. You can promote your business, promote anything you want, but also if you have something on your heart that you want to share, share it. The floor is yours. You get the last word.
Thank you for doing this for the team. I think it's amazing. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that people are as inspired as I was when I saw the other videos. What I would like to say is really to entrepreneurs, creators. You said it earlier, the world belongs to creators, and people are creating. Not everybody has been blessed to be a creator, but people are creating. And it's just to encourage them and also to encourage them to focus on, there's a reason why it's better to look at the cup as half full than half empty. Because then you were saying something like that. Then you're able to take advantage of what is working and then ignore what's not working. But if you keep at what's not working, then you would you would not see the goodness or the good ones that you have working for you and then move on. So if anybody has been discouraged, thinking it's difficult in this climb, it's difficult here, it doesn't work, there are some things that are working. There are some programs that the government have put in place. There are some grants. There are programs like this. Imagine people have won this $1 million. Can you imagine? They started from their local, came up to the regionals, came up to the fire, and they have so focus on what's working, and then let's get your idea off the ground. There's a lot of support, free, paid. Just do it. Just do it. All of these things we have in the world, internet, telephone, cars, it's because some people did. And now you're doing yours. You gotta keep at it. I can't hear you.
I know, because you're supposed to get the last word. Do you want to do you want to plug your business or your social media? Okay.
No, but people can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to support entrepreneurs, happy to help startups, and been doing that. We'll continue to do it. Thank you.